this is the image that I'm going to edit today. It was generated from a AI image generator when I was in the hospital a few months ago, and basically I generated this pencil sketch. I kind of like the composition and the strong lines in this, but what I'd like to do is kind of restore it, hopefully to a good kind of artistic color drawing. So what I want to do in the first instance is I would like to, we're in Luminar Neo here, I would like to restore the color. So let's go down, we're in the catalog view, and what we'll do is we'll drag that icon over to the restoration, and we're going to do the full restoration. We'll let, if there's any imperfections in it, we'll let that happen, be taken care of as well. And then what we will do is we'll restore. When I click on this restore button, it'll take about a minute or so, so I will suspend the operation until that, suspend this video until that's done. So, here's the result from that restoration, and well, it's colorized it. Now it looks a little bit like a colored sketch, which is nice enough. Let's save that so that we can ultimately compare that to the black and white sketch, but we're going to do some further editing, but let's save it first. So we'll get it right here, export it, and we'll put it back in that repair directory that we're keeping all these tutorials in. Okay, so that's been saved. Now let's edit it. Okay, so we're now in the edit module. And the first thing I want to do is I want to eliminate, just out of a sense of aesthetics, I like to eliminate some of this man-made stuff back there. So we'll click on the erase, and we'll select that, and then we'll, that bit there, and there's a bit here I want to get rid of, and this shouldn't take too long. We'll erase that, and you know, it doesn't matter greatly, but I didn't, it was a little bit distracting for me. Okay. Well, the first thing you should always do whenever you're doing any type of photo in Luminar is go to the develop. Well, one thing we should do before that, we might as well take care of any noise that happened in this transformation process. This will only take a few seconds, and if we look, we can make it a little bigger. We can see it's not too shabby. Particularly if something is basically a drawing. Alright, so we've done the noise. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go into develop, like I mentioned before. So we'll go into develop, and a good place to always start is just do the auto adjust. And that'll take a few seconds. So what you can see it did there, it upped the contrast a little bit and dropped the highlights. I'm kind of aiming towards, I'm wanting to put this as a kind of a Twilight picture. That being the case, I think I'd like to drop the exposure just a little bit, because, well, anyway, that's what I want to do. Alright, so, now we're going to go on to, what I'm interested in is I'm interested in, if anything, I'd like to get a little bit more, sense of the structure of all these nice looking lines that we have in this photograph. And the way to do that, or image, it's not really a photograph, what we'll do is we'll go to structure. And what we'll do is, let's magnify this a little bit so you can see a bit what's going on. Let's run it all the way up. And it'll do a little while it's calculating that. And that gives us, particularly if we boost it, gives us an even greater greater structure in terms of the lines and so forth. So we'll kind of go with that. All right. Now the next thing we'd like to do is we should go to get a little bit of pop by going to enhance. And what we want to do is we would like to enhance something like that kind of enhances the background, and we can also enhance the sky. I think something like that is good enough. Now, a couple of other things we'd like to do with this, at least what I'd like to do, is I'd like to go down to landscape. And what we're going to do is, well, let's first do something with the foliage. Now, again, I'm going to be doing this towards Twilight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of golden hour on this. Let's go all the way, see what that would do if you did something ridiculous. Alright, because we're going to be talking at Twilight here. Alright, so that's fine. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is do something in the water. Now the light's coming from over here. That's so what I'm going to do is enhance the water. But what I'm essentially doing here, you may notice, if we take this down, that's going to be like the original color. So we could actually make the water a little bit bluer if that's our thing. But let's just kind of make it a slight enhancement of blue-green. It's not important, but the really important thing, what I want to do here, is I want to change the brightness. And in particular, I would like that to be, and this is a very powerful tool. I mean, we could do all sorts of things in terms of the depth of the brightness. And but at any rate, we're going to deal with more with that shortly. It will become obvious what we do. All right. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is to use this fabulous new tool. Let's see if I can find it. And it's called Light Depth. Now, what does that do? Well, I'm going to turn it all the way up just so you can see it, how it works. You can see there's kind of a silhouette of the where the contrast is and thing. But the thing of it is, I want the boat to be relatively bright. I want it to be the center of attention. And so what I'm going to do, this center dot allows me to move where the center of the light is. And I'll put it right there. It doesn't have to be that intense, and I can change what essentially the spread of this by moving that around. But I would really like it centered there. Okay. Now that's one thing we can do, and I'd probably like to make it a bit softer around there too, not quite so harsh. All right. The other thing you can do is we can modify how the light is close and clear. And what I would like to do is I like the brightness near, I would like that to be less. In other words, okay. And that's a really powerful tool. You can use that lots of ways, and particularly in lots of landscape type of pictures. Alright, well, we'll keep that depth. Now let's go to the thing that I think is going to make the most difference. Let's go back up here to Twilight Enhancer. Now, you've got any number of ways of having the Twilight, but I've already decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Golden Hour. So we'll do that. Now, let's turn it all the way up to see what it would do, and I don't want that quite that much, but I would like something like that. And that's getting pretty close to the effect that I really want to see in this image. And we can adjust the sky too in terms of the temperature. Okay, depending on what we like, I think that's not so bad, and so we'll keep that like that, and I'm going to call that my edited picture. And I should do one more thing. I should save that. So we'll export that, and we'll put that as editors or Neo or whatever, something like that. So we'll export that. And that will, okay. Alright, now let's go to Xire and get a reading of the tape. Okay, here we are in Luminar, and we're hoping to get some notion of whether or not we've made any improvements to this image, at least according to their aesthetic rating. And anyway, here's the original. Let's just pop him up, and if we go over here, we can see that the aesthetics rating is around 50. And in other words, it was a pretty good image to start with, and that's the reason I kept it, of course. Rather surprisingly, when we colorized it, just doing the straight colorization and repair in Luminar, it actually dropped the aesthetics rating a little bit, down to about 48. But when we go to our edited version, where we basically tried to put in the twilight effects and accentuated the lines by the structure and messed around with the light a little bit, it went up to about 61. All in all, it was probably a fairly worthwhile exercise.